Oh no, I wasn't. I thought he was going to wait for me to play. Like silent disco. We'll wait a few more minutes because I want more people to dance. But also, this morning, if I remember rightly, it's someone's birthday, right? You don't need to dance. You don't need to dance. Come up today. So here we have. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, what's your name?
Wow. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Perfect, excellent. Okay, that's one of the activities later. You'll be able to sign up. I'll tell you what's going on today, just so you guys know. In the morning, right now. You need to stand closer to me.
All right, I come.
No, she does. It's the microphone. Okay, so today we've got 5 people to talk about their experience in business. That's the first thing. We've got one English guy. That's me. 2 Americans. Is that right? You're American. Woo.
Right.
Canadian and then. One German lady and one Croatian guy that you know. You know, Tomo. You remember Tomo? Yeah, he is going to be giving us a talk. So that's first of all. Then after that, we're going to be having a workshop on finances, financial management, your budgets, things like that. And you'll be able to then, in the afternoon, work through that part of your booklet. We'll also have activities later on today, yeah? So this is going to be like on Wednesday, 2 days ago. So we'll have the adrenaline part, we'll have archery again, and then we'll have the water sports. And maybe football and volleyball. Hopefully they've got a volleyball now. They have, haven't they, yeah? They've got a volleyball now. Good, because they lost the volleyball. So that will all be happening later. Same time, you've got the schedule on the back of your name tags. I think we might as well start because I don't see any Spanish turning up. And they'll come in, they'll sit down, and then when it's my presentation, I'll make them come and dance. So first of all, we have the lovely Maddie from Germany. This is for you.
Yeah.
She'll take you through and tell you everything about her. So Maddie?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I hope that you can hear me well. Is it okay? It's a pleasure to be here, actually, and I thought it would be great also letting you know why I'm actually here. So that was the topic, Digital, Diverse, Different. I also pitched to my company, my employer. Now it works, yeah. That's me in the co-working space here in Split in Croatia. So my name is Anne-Madeleine, but most of my friends call me Maddie. I work as a global senior manager in leadership development, which is human resources for a pharmaceutical company. We have more than 50,000 employees worldwide, so it's quite a huge employer. And currently I'm on remote year. And I thought that's probably the most important and most interesting fact to share. So what actually is remote year? There you can see a snapshot. Remote Year is a startup of a successful American entrepreneur. He also wants to bring diverse talents together from all around the world. As you can see, 2 of my colleagues are here as well from the States. I'm from Germany. We have participants from Australia, so really from all around the globe. And what we have in common is that we all work remotely. We work remotely for 1 year. We will change the city we will be in every 4 weeks. So today is actually the last day here in Croatia. Tomorrow we will be heading to Prague all together. And it's such a great opportunity because we can build on our own company strategy while benefiting from professional development, networking. I have met so many incredible people already and even had some great business contacts. That's why I'm here today, and I'm really proud and really glad that I'm here and meet you all. Oh, sorry, it's a PDF. So what you can see, we are basically a group of 60 people, 60 professionals. Some are entrepreneurs themselves, some work for a company. For example, I work full-time for a company remotely, but benefit from the exchange with the others and also benefit from cultural backgrounds, different mindsets, different inspirations, and it's just a great opportunity, I think, for all of us. Does it actually work? It just stopped. Oh yeah. There you can see how the community looks like. So we all have different backgrounds. Some are in IT, some work in finance, others in HR or in marketing. So it's great what you can even learn also from a business perspective, from an experience perspective. And I have learned so much already over the course of the last few weeks. And one of my key goals is also bringing that back to the company, because my employer also sees it as future of work, because the way we are working today is not how we're going to work in the future. That's our company strategy, so you can see a great link here. We build on and strongly believe in transformation, but also innovation and partnership. In the pharmaceutical industry, it's really important to innovate, otherwise you're not able to compete anymore. And partnerships, especially also with other startups who invest in pharmaceutical innovations, are truly important to us. So there you can also see a nice fit to remote here, because it's like a completely innovative way of working together. I also wanted to make the link to entrepreneurship. So there you can see that's our focus, that's what our company stands for, who we are, how we work, and what we want to achieve, because it's always important to have an ambition. And we always plan ahead with a strategic focus, what we want to achieve in 2025. And when we reflect on how we work, AAI stands for Agility, Accountability, and Entrepreneurship. So it's really important for our company to have that entrepreneurial mindset, and we learn a lot from startups, so therefore it's also great being here today. And in a more complex world and in a rapidly changing environment, agility is one of the key success factors for our company. The projects I'm currently working on, so in leadership development, my background is also in HR, with a strong focus on recruiting, talent acquisition, but now in leadership development, I have the opportunity to design programs to develop our leaders on a top management level, but we also do a lot in the social entrepreneurship field. For example, we have projects up and running in India to have a social impact and also get that entrepreneurial spirit back to Boehringer Ingelheim to really have that innovation also in the pharmaceutical industry. Other key projects are, for example, reverse mentoring. So what we do in order to also break up the hierarchies, we have reverse mentoring, which means that digital natives, for example, mentor our senior executives to also foster that knowledge transfer and the exchange between the younger generation and our senior executives even more. And remote here, as I said before, that's what I'm currently in. So 11 more months to come. I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, it's great that you are also part of my journey now. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know you more and yeah, working with you later on. Thank you.
So you've heard from Maddie about Remote Year, and you've heard a bit about what she does with leadership. Does anyone have any questions? Had anyone heard of Remote Year before? Yeah, a few people. Have you heard of the term digital nomad? Digital nomad. So a digital nomad is someone that normally works online. So normally programmers, developers, We have accountants, writers, photographers, filmmakers, and they're nomadic. So they don't live in one place. They can travel around because of their work. So that's the term digital nomad. So Maddie is here today with two other digital nomads who spend a month in each place, as she said, part of remote year. And there are lots of these organizations that plan these monthly trips so you can travel around the world. You're in a group of
61
people, and straight away you have 60 other business contacts. You can work, collaborate, enter new markets, yeah? But not only that, they also arrange like month-long retreats in places like Thailand, Bali, South America as well, Colombia, Chile, where you can go and you work for 1 week. It's like a hard workathon, so you work hard for 1 month, and again you meet other people, share ideas, and move on from there. Does anyone have any questions for Maddie at all? She'll be around till the afternoon, so.
I'll speak to Maddie afterwards, I'm sure.
Perfect, good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
very much.
thank you very much. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Okay, so you know me already. My name is Michael. I am 31. I'm originally from the UK. I grew up in Hertfordshire. Oh, no whoops. Oh. Okay, and now I live in Split in Croatia. I have lived here for 2 years, and my field of expertise is social entrepreneurship. So today I will tell you a bit about social entrepreneurship, and we'll go round the world of social enterprise, yeah? So first of all, put your hand up if you know what social enterprise is. Društveno poduzetništvo, emprendedor social. Nobody knows. Okay, a few people. If some of the Croatians don't know, I'm going to throw this at you. Okay, so not too many people know. Okay, well, social enterprise. What is social enterprise? So unlike other companies, the main priority is a social or environmental goal, okay? And they invest profits into this goal. So they still want to make profit. You have a triple bottom line: people, planet, profit. You want to meet all three of those and make sure everyone benefits. They act ethically and transparently. So they publicly publish their accounts, both financial accounts and also social accounts. They report on their social impact. So they report on, for example, who they're employing, how they're employing them, how much they get paid, the difference between the lowest worker and the highest paid worker. Yeah? They also look at their environmental impact. How much electricity are they using? How much water are they using? Yeah? Are they recycling? Are they conserving things such as plastic, glass? How are they looking at their environmental footprint? Yeah? And finally, like I said, they have a triple bottom line: people, planet, profit. They must have one of these people or planet goals as their main goal, okay? So that's social enterprise in a nutshell. Depending on where you're from, the legislation and the regulation of social enterprise is very different. For example, in the UK, you can set up a KIC, a community interest company. And if you set up a KIC, correct me if I'm wrong, UK guys, 55% of the profit has to be reinvested in your social or environmental goal. 45% of profit can be shared through shareholders. In Croatia, 75% of your profit has to go to your social or environmental goal. 25% can be shared with shareholders or with the community, whatever you want, yeah? The key is that most of your profit, and remember profit, not revenue, your profit, so you still pay yourself, yeah? Most of your profit goes back into your social or environmental goal. Let's see some examples. So here's the world. You might know it. Grameen Bank from Bangladesh. Who's from Bangladesh? Have you heard of Grameen Bank? Yeah? So Mohammed Yunus, he's seen in the social enterprise world as a bit of a pioneer. So he started up Grameen Bank, which is a micro loan institution, and they give loans to female entrepreneurs in Bangladesh. They've been running for over 40 years now, and once they take a loan out, they become a shareholder of Grameen Bank, which means they are part of the decision making. So they have a loan, but they decide how the company runs. They pay back the loan to the investors, and then they're a part of the Grameen Bank. They're a member, so they still can make decisions on strategy, marketing, and the direction for the future. That's Grameen Bank. So have people heard of microloans, microfinance before? Microfinance, you know microfinance? It's small money for entrepreneurs around the world. Next up, let's have a look. What do you do every day? What's the first thing you do when you wake up? You plan your day, and then after you plan your day, what do you do? Brush your teeth. What do you do after you brush your teeth? Wash your face. What do you do after you wash your face? Go to the toilet. Yes, finally, we're there. We're there. Sanergy. Sanergy are a social enterprise that enjoy people going to the toilet. What they do is they have portable toilets. They loan them to entrepreneurs across Africa. And these guys, they go and put the toilets in their village. Yeah? People pay to use the toilet, just a small amount. These villages don't have toilets, yeah? Or the toilets they have are very basic. So they put the toilet in there, people pay to use it, and then Sanergy come along and take all the shit and turn it into biofuel or fertilizer, yeah? So this social enterprise, Sanergy, loan out the toilets and collect the waste. And they provide jobs for the entrepreneurs, they provide safe places to go to the toilet, and they use the waste for biofuel and also fertilizer. Amazing, hey? Who thought shit was so good? Next up, BlindLink. We're going over to Vietnam now. In Vietnam, there's a social enterprise made up of people who have various degrees of being blind, visual impairment, and they are trained in how to be masseurs, how to give massage, yeah? Because obviously you only need your hands for that, so they don't necessarily depend on their eyes. So they get trained on how to give massage, and then they're employed in different massage parlors across Vietnam. So you're taking a group of people who are normally socially excluded, providing them with training, and employing them so they can be independent. Down to another crappy place. No, it's not a crappy place. Yeah, Australia. Simon around. No, he's not. Good, he didn't hear me. So Who Gives a Crap? Who Gives a Crap works in partnership with Sanergy, and they make toilet paper. That's what they do. They make toilet paper, but from recycled paper. Yeah, not recycled toilet paper, just from recycled paper. They use the recycled paper, turn it into toilet paper, sell it, and 50%, in Australia, 50% of their profits go towards Sanergy and Water Aid and a few other NGOs working in sanitation or water. Over to Marlo from Mali. Marlo was started by a young entrepreneur, I think 21 when he started it, a guy called Muhammad Ali Niang. So not quite Muhammad Ali. He set up Marlo. In Mali, their main diet is rice. But in Mali, they had to import a lot of the rice. and it costs a lot more money to buy imported things. So this guy, Muhammad Ali Nyang, he was like, okay, we have farmers, we can grow rice, what's going wrong? And what happened was the seed the farmers used was of low quality. So he bought in rice, he sold it to the farmers, but he also trained them how to grow more rice. And when he bought the rice in, he bought fortified rice, rice with more vitamins and nutrients, so that when they grew this rice and sold it on, they knew that the local public would be having rice that was nutritious, more nutritious than the rice from before. So he solved three problems. He solved the problems of the farmers not being able to grow enough, he solved the problem of low quality rice, and he created a microeconomy within his country based on farming and agriculture. Up to Scotland, generosity. Generosity, a slightly different social enterprise. What do these guys make? Gin. Yeah, these guys make gin. That's all they do. But with the profits, it goes to education for vulnerable young people, so people from low socio-economic backgrounds who don't necessarily have the same opportunity in Scotland. So if you like gin, you can buy your gin from them, and you know that the percentage of the majority of profits go towards social good. Yeah. Now, finally, we have this one logo. Who can name this logo? I will buy you a drink. Does anyone know where this logo is? No one? Huh? No. This is Kiva, kiva.com. And like Grameen Bank, it's an online platform where any of you can go and deposit $25. And with that $25, you can put it to a microloan anywhere in the world. So they have agents in every country across the world providing microloans to people who need it. Maybe they need to buy a water filter. Why do I keep saying water? Water filter. Maybe they need to buy some fertilizer. Maybe they need to start a business, buy some produce. Go on kiva.com, type in any country, and you will find projects you can fund through microloans. Yeah? Yep.
How do you know they don't give you back the money?
How do you know what?
They don't give you back the money.
You don't. You don't. Just like giving your mate 10 euros. You have to trust it. So I loan money on there, and I've always got my money back. Yeah? What about the banks? How do you know you're going to be able to go to the bank and take your money out?
Because they have a lot of money.
Do they? Wow, I didn't know that. What about in Greece? Okay, yeah, so you have to trust that they're going to pay the money back. But like with anything, there's an element of risk, yeah? So kiva.com, you pay money in, it goes to these guys all around the world, and then they pay the money back, and you can reinvest or you can withdraw the funds, yeah? So it's interest-free loans. Okay, good. So there's a few social enterprise examples from around the world. From your countries, I probably know one or two, definitely the UK, definitely Spain, and most definitely Croatia. But as you can see from what we've been through, Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, Who Gives a Crap in Australia, Synergy in Kenya, Generosity in Scotland. Social enterprise exists everywhere. Yeah, anyone can do it. You just need to have the right mentality. And it goes across all sectors. We've seen finance, microloans, sanitation, alcohol, agriculture, public. There's a few public-related social enterprises. Food and clothing. There's a big one in Croatia, Humana Nova, who work on recycling second-hand clothes. You know, English guys mainly. When you're like, oh, I buy so much, and then, but it's okay, I take my clothes to the charity shop. It's fine. But actually, what happens to the clothes there? Maybe 5% are sold, and the rest of them are sold on to another country. Let's say Croatia. So Croatia, they get all this second-hand clothing in, they look through it, and they're like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll sell 10%. 90% will sell on to India, or maybe somewhere in Africa. So they sell it on there. And then those guys look through it, and they're like, oh, I like this, I like that, I like this. We've got 50% we don't like, let's burn it. Yeah, so think, when you think you're doing something good, make sure you follow that whole chain and see where it ends up. because that's the way you can really change your own social and environmental impact, yeah? So social enterprise exists everywhere. If you guys are interested in developing a company, think about the social and environmental impact you have, yeah? Think about making profit for you yourselves and for everyone around you. There's been a shift over the last 15 years in how people approach businesses, consumer-wise. Consumers generally want to know a lot more, and there's a lot more accountability for companies because of social media, yeah? So think about that when you're creating your pitch, your pitches. Does anyone have any questions at all for me? You know I'm here anyway, so you can come and speak to me whenever. This is a bit weird because I'm presenting and now I'm presenting and now I have to leave that presentation. Okay. Okay, cool. Next up, we have Kirsty, yes? Yes, perfect, good. So Kirsty's flown all the way from America just to be here today. And she's flying back to America afterwards. Obviously, she didn't. She's co-working in Split, and she's going back to Split afterwards. You need to be...
I need to be hooked up.
Yeah, that's it. So... You can be my co-host.
Maddie, just with the cell phone as well.
This is for you, madam.
Okay, how does this work here?
Just press that and hope it works.
Okay,
You
just press.
you also have a pointer, so if someone's not listening at you...
You just shoot them in the eyes.
Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. It's okay.
Ah, okay. Oh, nope, that's not it. Where'd it go?
No idea. You just plugged in.
Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't even supposed to have a presentation today, so I'm just winging it. First of all, thank you so much for having us. What an unreal, surreal treat for us. We're here in Split for a month on remote year, and it's very serendipitous. We were talking about this on the ride over, that on the very last day of Split, we got invited to this awesome event that we weren't planning for, which is exactly what remote year is about and why I joined the program. I don't know how much entrepreneurial advice, knowledge I'd be able to share with you today, but I can just tell you my personal experience with my work in New York and why I even joined remote year, and then maybe you'll get inspired, right? I work in a business called Stylus. Has anybody ever heard of Stylus by any chance? No? Okay. So Stylus, my colleague back there from remote year definitely has, because I've been shouting out about it a lot. Stylus is an innovation, research, and advisory firm. So in short, we track trends globally across the US, across Singapore, across Asia, South America, and we look at what's happening 3 to 5 years out across 20 different industries. So what's happening in food and beverage, what's happening in technology, social entrepreneurship and enterprise is a huge topic of discussion right now, and that's actually why I got onto the program. So this is me. This is actually a little snapshot of our office in Split. If you're ever in Split, go check it out. It's a really cool little co-working space. We get to, and it's across the street from the beach, which I do not have in New York City. But it's an amazing organization, and if you have any questions about remote year, by all means, tap us, ask us questions, because it's been the most life-changing month. And I'm 31, August 4th, I turned 31, and this was the best decision I've ever made for myself. So in terms of the work that I do, my company is very corporate. I work in sales and brand strategy. I work with clients like Starbucks and Nike and Red Bull, so companies that you've probably heard before. And remote working, being a digital nomad we track it, we talk about it, and our clients buy the research because we actually are tracking this. But internally, as an organization, we weren't practicing it. And I found out about stylists through my company while I was reading the site. We are doing a lot on the future of work. Maddie actually also mentioned the future of work, and I can talk a little bit more about it as well if you have questions. But I said, my gosh, this has my name all over it, right? You don't have to choose between traveling the world and working anymore. And I'm not necessarily an entrepreneur, but over the past few weeks where I'm talking to colleagues, talking to folks on remote year, I kind of tap myself on the back a little bit and think, I'm more of an entrepreneur because I made this happen for myself. And I think that comes along with entrepreneurship. I basically, called my boss into the office and I said, I have to have a conversation. I found this program called Remote Year. There's 30,000 plus applicants. I got in, and I think it'll be really good for the company. So the way that I pitched it, I'll just give you a little bit of background on how I got into the program, and then I can talk a little bit more about stylists, because what we're doing is really fantastic, awesome. And if you're in universities now, there might be access to this type of resource, because we do work with a lot of the universities, at least in the States. But I basically created a dorky PowerPoint, and I used our stylist research, quoting millennial mindsets and this entitlement and work-life balance and all of these concepts that we preach to our clients, but I brought it to life. And I said, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to bring the trends to life. And I'm doing sales on the road. I think a lot of people are actually pretty fascinated with the Remote Year program, so it's pretty easy to talk to clients and get them involved in the conversations. And I'm also getting more involved in the content, so looking at the future of work specifically. And everything from the way that we snack at our desks is changing, how packaging is designed, and how, grab-and-go food is very much a concept because of a lifestyle shift. And that's what we're actually tracking. So when Michael was talking about how in the past 5 years, there's been a lot of lifestyle shifts that are happening in terms of, why you need to think about your company and what impact you're making on the planet, on your people, makes total sense to me, because we live in a time now where we have access and companies have to be transparent. So these are reasons why companies like Uber are having a lot of problems, because folks like ourselves are part of the growth of the business, right? We care about what they're doing. We care about where they're putting their money, how they're treating their employees. These concepts never existed a few years ago. We now have access to it because of social media and technology. So yes, when you're going off into the world and looking at your own businesses, really think about that, because according to the research that we're doing, environmental impact, social responsibility, giving back, what your actual brand purpose is what Starbucks comes to us to help them with. We actually give them content in an inspirational way to come up with new ideas. So I'll do any questions so far about me or the program, Remote Year? Yes?
Is there any trend right now that you find interesting, that you say wow, really people are doing that now? That you find disruptive?
Remote Year. Remote Year. Right now, I can tell you, and I can send you some content if you'd like, about really cool packaging, like Amazon. I went to a conference just a few weeks ago. Amazon is looking at the future of packaging because they actually want to eliminate packaging altogether. So when you get that clunky cardboard box with all the paper and the plastic, right, that's not going to be in the packaging world, hopefully, in a few years. The idea is that because of sustainability and saving our planet, we have to get rid of packaging. So they actually showed a really cool example of a dog food company that's creating their box for their dog food is the actual container for the food. So it has a little spout that opens up. There's zero packaging involved. So that's one example. I hope that was helpful to give you a sense of where the future of the packaging industry perhaps is moving. But to retract back to the workspace, Stylist right now is doing a lot of research on the future of work, and I think companies like Remote Year are disrupting the industry. I think I just wrote an article for the company about my experience so far. And key thing I've learned is I've got my own personal working style. You know, I don't need to be sitting at a desk from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. because my boss is there and I'm supposed to be there. Society tells me I need to be at my desk. I can tell you, and hopefully this video doesn't go to my boss, but a lot of the time I was like on Facebook or on GChat. I was wasting the day, wasn't feeling motivated. And what I've learned here is that when you actually make your own hours, which is, maybe I am a little bit of an entrepreneur and I didn't know it, when you actually sculpt your own hours to fit your working style or living style, you're much more productive. I mean, when I sit down at my desk, I've never felt more refreshed, more motivated. I'm excited about my work again. And a lot of it has to do with customizing and personalizing my own schedule, which I didn't have access to before. And I think remote working, companies like Remote Year, create this lack of structure in a structured way for people like myself to do that. So I think the future of work is definitely going to look a lot different. And the macro trend that we're publishing in October, actually, the reason why I was able to finagle my way into this Remote Year program is we're looking at the future of work, everything from furniture design. So even the way that, like, you know, this cafeteria is set up, right, where you have circular tables or communal tables. If you walk into a lot of these co-working spaces, have you ever worked in a co-working space before? Yes, a few of you? Okay. They're just going to keep growing, right? I work in New York out of a WeWork office, which is, you know, a beautiful co-working space. We have a beer tap on our floor. It's very edgy. But the idea is that physically the design of the space is for collaboration, for meeting people, talking, sharing ideas. You no longer have to be in a cubicle. So furniture design shifting, I mentioned kind of eating at your desk. We're calling it al desko, right? How often, and it's very different in Croatia, so I have to be careful and sensitive to that. I loved, we were talking about this on the way over here, how people take time here to just have a coffee and sit down and relax and have a longer lunch. Maybe it's because it's August, it's the summer, who knows? But I felt it, and I'm bringing that back to my daily life. I mean, in the mornings I wake up and I sit down for half an hour, I have a coffee, and that lifestyle shift for me is something that I'm going to incorporate into the macro trend, because I think work-life balance is absolutely an important subject, and it's going to be more accepted, I feel. We'll see. Any questions? Anything? Okay. I don't want to take too much more time because I know Steve has an awesome presentation. He's really funny, and I hope I haven't bored you too much. I can run through a little bit of background on my company and how we look at trends, because it's really smart and it's awesome. We look at 20 different industries. Actually, Michael, my CEO, started his company. Our company is based in London. He started one of the very first trend forecasting companies called WGSN, which if you've ever been in the fashion world or design world, this was the very first trend forecasting company. He sold it 10 years ago, started Stylist to bring back inspiration and creativity into the market space, and we look at trends across 20 different industries. So when Michael is talking about, you know, social enterprise across food and beverage, alcohol, retail, technology, that makes total sense to me. Because the way that we track trends is we look at adjacent industries for inspiration. So Starbucks or Red Bull, they can't come to me and say, tell me about coffee, because I can't tell them anything about coffee or, you know, retail that they don't know already. We show them what's happening in hospitality. So we show them, hey, this is what, you know, really nice hotels are doing to encourage their guests to come back into their hotel, to have that really beautiful experience of having, you know, walking into a lobby, the smells, the sights, the feel when you walk into a good space is what we're showing in Starbucks, nothing more than that. We work with a lot of universities as well, so if you have any questions about how to access the research, just let me know. And we look at 3 areas usually when it comes to trends. We look at lifestyle shifts, product design, and marketing, how those concepts all interlink. We're global. We've got lots of editors out in the field, like myself in Croatia, where we track what's happening. We're at beauty expos, tech conferences, looking at startups and entrepreneurial programs for inspiration, because you can gain a lot and learn a lot from the startups. I think that they actually are the more innovative ones than anybody. out there. And then we use a STEEP methodology as well. So we look at what's happening in society, technology, the environment, economy, and politics. And these are some of our clients, little NASCAR page. So you can get a sense of who's using us. Any questions? Nope. I hope that was helpful in some way. Kick ass, you know, just if you really love something, go for it, take a risk. Because I never thought that I would be in Croatia 6 months ago, but I made it happen. And I think that links back to a lot of the entrepreneurial mindsets, and I wish the best for you guys. Good luck.
Who's going to take your thing off and go to sleep? So these guys are going to be around this morning and when you're working in your ideas. So to Steve this time, this guy over here. So think about how you might ask them to help. Yeah. So they're talking about their expertise. Think about, okay, let's grab her, let's grab him, and ask them about this area. Good. Okay, we'll wait for Steve's. Oh, Steve doesn't have a presentation.
I tell you, I have a presentation. I don't have slides.
He doesn't have slides, sorry. He has 88 slides in his head.
Exactly.
I was telling him earlier how sometimes I go into a room and someone has a presentation and they load it up and you see in the bottom right-hand corner one of 88 slides and my heart just drops. And then they go to the first slide or the second slide. The first one's always their name and all their titles. The second slide with maybe 300 words on it. And then I just want to walk out, yeah? So take note of these guys that are presenting today because they've presented before. They know about presentation skills, they know about slides. It seems like the slides are only 4 or 5 long, yeah? So think about how people are presenting and use those skills yourself. Always learn from everything you're watching, both the good and the bad, yeah?
I'm the bad, thank you.
Just Steve.
Hi guys, I'm Steve. I'm 61 years old. I think I'm the oldest entrepreneur in Croatia or the United States maybe. I've started 7 companies. I also do angel investing where I invest in other people's companies. I've invested about 8 other companies. So I want to talk for a few minutes about how I got into entrepreneurship, what I'm doing now, and give you 5 tips that I've learned along the way, both from my successes and from my failures. I've had some unbelievable successes. I've had some unbelievable failures, and I've learned from both, and I want to kind of share those things with you. So I don't have slides, but one thing I like to do in presentations, I give away money so people pay attention. So I'm giving away 200 kuna, okay? I'm going to ask a question, okay? I got his interest. I don't need no slides. I got money. Anyway, so I'm old. We'll go with that. And when I first started working in the early 1980s, you guys remember the 1980s at all? Did you ever read history books about the 1980s? Hey, it existed. I was there. So there was no such word as entrepreneur, right? They called us crazy people, right? Because all we ever did was fight against the establishment. And I talked to a lot of people in Croatia the last few weeks, and culturally, right, you have your parents from a different generation who think differently. They have a different reference point. And they're like, you want to be an entrepreneur? No, no, no. When I was raised, my parents worked for the same company for 30 years, and they were like, you have to work for the same company for 30 years. I did that for 2 years, and I went crazy, right? So how I started on my journey, I started like everybody else. I started working for 2 big companies. One was General Electric, and one was Motorola. So I don't know if you guys know Motorola, beepers and cell phones. I was Mr. Beeper. They went out of business, but I was Mr. Beeper in the good old days. And what they did with me was, since had this crazy wild streak and I could never follow any rules, they put me in charge of impossible things. They said, okay, we're not going to give you any money, any people, go figure this out. So I had the safety net of having a good brand behind me like Motorola and GE, but they put me on these crazy assignments, like go to China for 6 months and sell something. And I'd show up in China without speaking a word of English. I lost 20 kilos because I couldn't use chopsticks. So, but you figure it out. So what an entrepreneur does, it just doesn't, they don't give up and they keep on fighting. So So that's how I started. I started as something called an intrapreneur, which is really an internal entrepreneur inside a big company. So once I got the fever for that, so I basically lived and traveled all over the world for these big companies, creating new businesses. And then in 1995, maybe some of you guys were born around then, there was this thing that started, who was born in 1995? Anyway, called the internet, right? And the internet has completely changed the way not only we work, but in the services that we could be delivered. So somebody called me up out of the blue and said, hey, I'm starting a brand new company. So how many, let's go like, in hindsight, everything's perfect vision. How many of you download music from the internet? Right, most of you. And you put it on your device, right? So back in 1995, there was no digital delivery of audio. There were no devices. There were no iPhones for sure. There were no MP3 players. There was no iPods. So somebody came to me and said, hey, I got this great idea, and I can't give you any money since we haven't raised any money, but you'll have some equity. I didn't even know what equity meant, but I would own a piece of a company that was worth zero. So you multiply a number times zero, doesn't sound so exciting, but I was crazy, right? So we started a company, now if you've heard of it, called Audible. So Audible is digital delivery of audio books using the internet. It was a crazy idea because when I went around to bookstores, and back in those days, you got your audio books on cassette tapes, right? So this is for times like if you're in the car, you're driving a long distance where you can't really use your eyes, you might be exercising. So that's why audiobooks is popular. But the main people that used it were blind people and old people. The internet in 1995 was all about early adopters, people your age. Nobody downloaded, so it was a crazy idea. We didn't have any content. The delivery of the internet speed was 28.8 modems. There was no hardware. We had to invent the entire ecosystem. It was crazy, but we invented it, took years and years, and we wound up selling it to Amazon for a ridiculous amount of money. So since that time, again, I've created 6 or 7 other businesses. Some have gone great. Like I said, some have gone bad, but it's been there's nothing more exciting to me than being an entrepreneur because it gives you freedom, right, to just do what you want. What am I doing now? I'll get to the 200. He's asking. He's looking for the money, right? You ready? So what am I doing now? So I basically retired like 2 or 3 times over the last 10 or 15 years. And every time I did that, somebody would call me up and say, hey, I have this new idea for a business. And I'd get sucked back in. So I think I'm a serial addicted entrepreneur. So I love doing it. So kind of like what Michael was talking about, social entrepreneurship. Instead of selling widgets or things, I really want to give back to the world. So the 2 different things I'm doing right now, I own 3 different health and wellness businesses to try to make the world a better place naturally. I own a company in something called Halo Therapy, which is delivering of salt. It's dry. If you have like a sore throat, you might gargle with salt water. This is dry salt therapy that goes deep into your lungs. You sit in a salt cave or a salt bed or a salt booth, and it really helps people with asthma and allergies and skin conditions. I also have a company, water is a major, it's my accent, water, the things you drink. Water, my New York. Water is a massive problem around the world in terms of droughts or quality of water. So we invented a thing called an atmospheric water generator. So it's a big machine that takes the humidity out of the air and converts it through 7 filters, and out comes purified water. So we're working with all the many third world countries and hospitals around the world. In the United States, there's a big problem with lead in pipes. So we're trying to bring clean, healthy water anywhere, anytime, which is great. And the other company I'm part owner of is a company with silver. So silver is another mineral that really is great as far as being anti-germ. So we put this silver into paint. So we get rid of mildew and mold. We put it into things like camouflage equipment, like gear, so it doesn't smell and gets rid of germs. So my main kind of business focus is on this social entrepreneurship, with trying to make the world a happier and healthy place. The second main mission I have is to really help entrepreneurs around the world. That's part of the reason I'm doing Remote Year. So as of last week, I met with Startup.hr, and we formed a partnership that I'm heading up, and Tony from Startup.hr. We're going to form a partnership where we're going to help many local Croatian companies, either teach them how to grow or give them some business from the United States. So I'm really excited about that, and we're going to keep it going even when I move on to my next country. Remote Year is going to adopt it, and we're going to have 2 or 3 or 4 people continuously working with Tony. So as you guys kind of get into your businesses, really try to use startup.hr. Tony's has this vision for many years, and I'm going to help him to really make Split like one of the major startup hubs around the world. So I'm very excited to do that. The other thing I've done, I've started a company with my son called Adoptapreneur. Right? So what we want to do, I know many successful entrepreneurs, all we want to do is give back for free. So we're going to create a platform, kind of like a social network, but for entrepreneurs to share ideas and have people mentor. So that's really exciting as well. So, you ready for the money? Okay, so let's talk about the 5 tips that I've learned through my successes and failures. So the most important thing I think I've learned is as you pick something to get involved with, you should be very passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, you're going to get bored and you're not going to put the effort in, and being an entrepreneur is very hard. I once read somewhere that entrepreneurs work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 for somebody else, right? So it's a lot of work. Many people can't do it. It's exhausting, it's risky, but there's nothing more fulfilling when you get success, especially with a group of people. Besides passion, let's say you're interested in some crazy subject, but you can't make money at it, then you'll go broke also. So you really need to find the intersection of what you're passionate about and where there's a money-making opportunity, because it's all about business. Even if you're a social entrepreneur, your social enterprise will crash and burn if you can't fund it somehow. So it's really important to find that intersection of passion and where you can make money. Okay, here comes the $200 quiz. When I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, they're always thinking like, what can I create that nobody else in the world has ever thought of? Which is good. A lot of stuff's already been created, right? But many things, the best entrepreneurs have taken things that exist now and just made them much better. So that's a good rule. So here's you ready for the $200? Okay. What search engine do you guys use typically? Everybody Google. Good answer. That helped. You get 100. No. Okay, here's the question. This gets back to my point about you don't have to be first. How many search engines so Google came out in about 1997, 1998. How many search engines existed that were way more popular? Google didn't exist. How many search engines existed before Google started? 3. So raise your hand on yellow number. 3. Nope. How many? 10. Very close. Who wants to go a little higher?
1.
Nope. What number did you say? 12. Bingo. No. And the reason I give away money actually is just to help remind you of, just have a trigger to remember. There were 12, you said 12, right? There were 12 other search engines. Some still exist, like Yahoo and Bing. Some I don't think ever exist again, like Alta Vista, Netscape, Home, what'd you say? Ask Jeeves is a good example. So there was 12 of them. So when Google first came out, right, everybody was like, what a stupid idea. If there's already 12 or something, why would you come out? And Google was funny because it was the only search engine that, do you know what's on Google's homepage? How many things? Go back to your one answer. Who said 1? Right, good answer. 1. There's only one thing on Google's search page. It's basically a box that hit search. On all the other search engines, or most of the other search engines, they acted as portals because they were trying to get a lot of content and traffic and ad revenue. But Google just simplified it and came out with the best algorithm. So that's how they won. So now everybody in the world uses Google. Now, were those guys entrepreneurs? I say yes. Did they invent something new? Not really. They took something that people wanted and just made it a lot better. So again, so you think about your entrepreneurial businesses, you don't have to create something completely brand new. So the second tip is, third tip, I'm going to cheat here and look. You want to find something you want to have a business that's unique. You want to have something that is different than somebody else. Like when I went to the green market the other day down in Split. So there was 100 people selling tomatoes and peaches. I'm like, the 101st guy is not going to get rich probably, right? So what can make your business unique? And then how do you defend it? You should always assume you're going to have competition coming like crazy at you. When you're sleeping, there's somebody in the world trying to build a better mousetrap than what you guys are working on. So you need to build something that's unique and do everything in your power to protect it, to continue to make it unique. The third or fourth tip, I can't remember which one it was, you need to build a really, really good team around you. Like a lot of entrepreneurs are really smart. They tend to be very smart either in technology or business or one specific skill set. It's really hard to be brilliant and great at everything. So I really encourage you to build a team of complementary, really, really smart people that you get along with, because it's brutal out there. So you need to have personalities that you can work with also, because there's some sad days and tough days and hard days. Like when you're trying to pay your employees on a Friday and you run out of money on a Thursday, that morning is not a good morning, you know. So that's that. And then I think I had one last tip for you guys, if I can remember. See, I did pretty good remembering some of it without slides. Well, oh, here's okay. Oh, there's two other really important points. There's an expression that says 50% of the money that you spend on your business is going to go to the wrong things, but that you don't even know what the 50% is, whether it's right or wrong. So I always tell people, before you invest a ton of money or a ton of time into your business, there's an expression in English, and maybe it works here in Croatian too, or Spain or UK, crawl, walk, run. Go very, very slowly, because what you think is going to be your perfect idea today, or what you think is going to be the end, never happens. So go slowly, invest money slowly, invest time slowly, get feedback from your customers. It's an interactive process. Then start walking a little faster. Then when you figure out the model, then hit it hard. Put as much fuel, time, effort, money into it to make it as big as possible. But start off slow. I've seen so many companies, some of those search engines we talked about, they spent millions and tens of millions of dollars on crazy ads for, like, you know, our Super Bowl, and they ran out of money, right? Not a good business model. So you want to build it slowly. And the most important one, and again, it's don't listen to anybody. Everybody's going to tell you it's a bad idea, or you can't do it, or you won't succeed. You'll hear that from your parents especially. You'll hear it from your friends that are in these safe jobs that they hate. Don't believe anybody. Believe in yourself. Take chances, take risks, take calculated risks. Don't do something stupid, but just don't listen to anybody. If you believe and fight as hard as you can. Don't fight if it's a completely losing battle. Just pivot, just zigzag. You don't lose if you make some changes, because that's reality. But don't give up. Don't listen to anybody else. There's nothing better than being an entrepreneur, about freedom, making money. So, and enjoy your lives. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? What'd you say? Say again? Do I have a nice car? So it's funny you say that. I have no possessions anymore. My possessions are my experiences. I sold my nice car, I sold my nice house, I sold my boat. Now I travel around the world with the greatest people in the world. That's where you can get tripped up too. You start getting very materialistic. I made a lot of money. You start buying the toys, and then you meet people who have bigger toys, and you start competing against them, and then all of a sudden your business takes a dip, and then you have toys with no gasoline in them. So you got to be really careful about getting too. Everybody makes their own choices, but I personally am not about the toys anymore. But they're fun. I have friends with toys. Friends with boats are better than owning your own boat. Yeah. That's a good question. Okay. So, that's a great question. What's the worst business? So, I won't blame it totally on myself, but my partners came up with this business idea that was so successful, and I'll tell you what it is. We got a phone call maybe 3 years after we started the business from the music company saying we owe them $25 billion. That was not a good phone call to get. So you guys know Napster, which is basically peer-to-peer. You can put up. Okay, so I started a company with my friends called Mixer. So Mixer is about ringtones. So let's say you own a certain song, and you put up a clip of your ringtone. It's a sharing site. So instead of people paying, say, 10 kuna or 20 kuna for a ringtone, you could get it for free because you own it and you want to share it with your friends. The music companies didn't like that too much. So that was a bad day. So we went to court. We spent tens of millions of dollars on lawyers. We eventually, frankly, had to change our service so much, we went out of business. So I lost a lot of money, but I didn't go to jail. So that was good. I don't look good in stripes. I'm not a good jail person. So That would have been the worst one. Don't go to jail. That's my last tip. Did somebody else have a question? Go ahead.
After failing in one business, how did you have the motivation to go for the other?
Because I couldn't pay my rent. No, seriously. One of the biggest motivations about being an entrepreneur is you can get super rich or you can wind up in the street, right? It's those two extremes are very motivating. And again, built into my character is fight, fight, fight. So even if I take a shot, I'm going to get back up and fight. But it's a very difficult thing because it does hurt your ego and self-esteem when you have to lay off people, or, I was married at the time, you tell your ex-wife, like, you can only eat, ramen noodles for the next year. So it is hard. It's true. Any more questions? Thank you for, go ahead. That's a great question. So the question was, well, I'm divorced. But it's a really, really good question. So the question was, how does your business life affect your personal life? So you're right. As an entrepreneur, I worked 80 hours a week for 15 to 20 years. Not so easy having a relationship, right? So I made a lot of money, but it wasn't this. But in hindsight, maybe I should have worked 60 hours and had a better balance. So that's one other important lesson too. Make sure you still have fun and have a good balance in your life. But I have 2 sons, so I always made time for my sons, and I guess I spent less time on not so important things like watching TV or doing stupid stuff, right? Not stupid stuff, but less important stuff. So I tried to make sure I was focused on my family. Maybe not enough, but that's one danger of an entrepreneur for sure. So you have to find the right balance.
When you were successful, I mean, you are successful, but when you was on the rise, should I say, how did you find it, how was your experience in your social circle? Did you feel like you had to act some people off of the social circle? How did you filter them out?
Yeah, that's another great question. Because as you're getting more and more successful, you find people who weren't in your social circle trying to join your social circle. So I just try to keep it real, I guess. And the people that were with me from the beginning, since when I had no money, right, I stuck with them. And the people that kind of try to be hanger-oners, at first maybe I was happy I had new friends, but it was bullshit. So so I eventually was like, but it's right. But you're right. It's another danger. But it's a little bit like the thing I was telling about the toys, right? Even though I had toys, I tried not to hang out with people that had bigger toys or people that were rich from birth, so I try to keep things humble as much, But it's a great question. Any more? So the first business I invested in, and when it was relatively recently, maybe 15 years ago, there's a company called, if you think about how you guys communicate, right? You guys communicate via Twitter or text messages, very short messages. When I was young, back when there was no cars or TVs, we used to write letters, long handwritten letters. That was a way of us communicating and showing our emotions. If you were getting married and you needed to send out 100 or 200 letters to people to say thank you for coming, that would be a long, long job. So one of the companies that I invested in uses robots. They have about 100 or 200 robots that have pens, and they basically scan your signature and they create personalized letters with wax seals at the back. It looks like you wrote them, and you can send out hundreds and hundreds of letters at a time using your own personal handwriting. And you can customize it to things like Excel or some other database where you can say, Dear Mary, or Dear John, or Dear whatever, thank you for bringing me the blank, blank, blank. So, and we just sold that company to another company for $30 million a couple weeks ago. So, but I've had, getting my phone call that I have to write them a check for $25 billion, that was not so good. So, but again, it's part of the territory. It's very hard to be an entrepreneur. So if you get in, you got to go in with both feet. You can't be afraid, and you got to fight. And again, like I said, don't let anybody tell you you can't. Don't even listen to that word. And you're going to hit some roadblocks where you're like, I'm going to give up, go to bed that night, wake up the next day, and come out fighting again. Because there's many, many days you're going to want to quit. Just don't quit. You can pivot, but don't quit. Okay? I'll be around, so it's a pleasure meeting you guys. Oh, you got more questions? Sorry. That's a good question. Making things up when I have no slides. No, but honestly, okay, so that's a good question. I think my best skill is networking with other people. I think I have a good personality. I'm funny. I'm pretty quick-witted. In business, like I said, you can't operate by yourself. You can't be the smartest programmer or tech person or even sales, but you need a combination of skills. So my best skill is partnering with other people because I make people happy. I make them feel good. I make them feel like they can win in a partnership. So that's another important skill that I think has taken me. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the, she says I'm the funniest, maybe second funniest. But being able to have personality to bring other people in and get them excited about what you're doing is really, really important. So that's a great question. I can't dance like you though either. That's not my skill. And I can't sing.
What are the options for an entrepreneur when you have like the ideas but you don't have money?
Great question. Okay, that's a great question. Call me. No, no, but what you should do. Where do you live?
Dominican Republic.
Okay, so a couple things. One is, so she asked a question, what do you do when you have no money? Which is, most people don't have money when they want to invest. Find people with money, right? So whether it's your family, friends, or others, and that's what I want to do with these, is Adoptapreneur. We're going to put together a bunch of people that have money that will slowly, kind of like micro invest in you. So try to find people that have money, that believe in you, and again, but don't ask for $5 million. Start with 10,000 or 20. So build your case up slowly, and in exchange for that, they will loan you the money, and you might have to give them an interest rate of like 8% or 5%, or you might have to give them 5% of your company, things like that. So the most important thing I would say is really network in your community with either your family, friends, or that's what I am. I'm an angel investor. People send me business plans all the time from around the world. Find those groups in your community that do that. Anything else? Ta-da. Okay. Thanks, guys. Good luck, and just keep fighting. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, money. You'll be talking about that later today. Angel investor, yeah? So normally people invest their savings, then they go to the 3X, friends, family, and fools, the people that will give you money even if you can't offer them anything. And then after that, you might find an angel investor, like Steve. There's a website called angellist.co. You can find investment on there. Yeah. There's also loads of competitions around Europe for startups, and they all start with a pitch. And you'll be learning how to pitch over the next couple of days and delivering your final pitch. So pitch means you need to have good business sense, but you also need to be able to stand up and make sense. A bit more about money now. We've got Tomislav to tell you about something that it might be completely new to all of you. So come on.
Hi, thank you. Okay, so just shortly about me. I'm your driver, but also I help Lana for other things. And in my free time, I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. So I have a consultancy. I consult NGOs and some small businesses how to do their business strategy and everything related to business. Also, I'm founding with one of your friends here a startup that wants to revolutionize dentistry. And I was thinking about the subject, what I will talk to you about, and decided that maybe the blockchain, which is the third subject I'm mostly interested in, might be most useful for you, useful for your projects that you're working on here. So just quickly, I'm going to try to explain the blockchain. Have you heard about blockchain? Did you hear about Bitcoin? Bitcoin? Okay. I'll give you one Bitcoin. No, I'm not. So you guys there won't hear anything or see anything because I'm going to draw it here, explain it here. So if you want to hear, you can quickly come here with your place, with your chairs, but if not, doesn't matter, you can stay there. So You want to come here? Okay, great. So what I want to achieve today is to explain to you what's blockchain, what's this underlying technology that Bitcoin runs on. How does it work? How does Bitcoin work? How is it possible that it's a real money? What are some opportunities for entrepreneurs and businesses within Bitcoin? And then what are some opportunities with some more advanced technologies such as Ethereum, which is also blockchain based, but completely different from Ethereum, from Bitcoin. Okay, so who said they know what is blockchain? You know, okay, can you tell us? Yeah. Okay. 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 Okay, that's great. Actually, that's something similar to what Steve did with Audible. He put audiobooks on internet, and you are putting music on internet. So blockchain is, if Steve used blockchain, he would never get this phone call from music companies because it's peer-to-peer network. There is no central power or owner of the network, and you can call it platform. Since 2007, when iPhone came up, everybody started getting crazy about apps. So we are all building apps. We are building apps for this. We are building apps for that. We are building platform for this, platform for that. Then came software as a service. And all of these business models made really a lot of people very, very rich. But they're all declining now. So like the chance that you will create an app that will make you rich is basically zero. So if this is your business model, then you're pretty much lost. What's happening now, there is one new technology emerging, and it's blockchain. And the key difference with this technology is that enables us to rewrite internet completely. So we can have new Google, we can have new Facebook, we can have not even internet, we can have new banks, and whole infrastructure and industries can be rewritten with the blockchain, because this is the first time we can have something that works, that connects us like a network, and it's completely decentralized. Sorry. So why is it important to be decentralized? Do you understand? So let's say we are in Middle Ages, and there's this one village, and you're another village. So the best way to take them is to go and kill the chief, right? And you won, right? So the chief is single point of failure. And in every system, if it's centralized, it has a single point of failure. If you take this central point, you took over the whole system and you control it. And with blockchain, you can make a system that doesn't have it. And this is the first time that it works. And this is the example of Bitcoin. So how does Bitcoin work? So let's say person A wants to send some money to person B. Do you see? No? So you want to send some money to person B. And so usually what you would do is you will go to your bank. You will tell your bank, please take the money from my account and give it to the account of the other person, right? And with Bitcoin, there is no bank. There is no third central authority, somebody who controls your money and moves it where you want. You actually, with Bitcoin, you actually send it directly to them, to the other person, with no control whatsoever from any other person than you. And once you send it, you can't reverse it. You sent your money and that's it. You can't get it back. And so you have to be careful. So how does blockchain work? Blockchain is actually a long chain of transactions, which is written on special computers called nodes These nodes are actually, so anybody of you can run a node. You just use your computer, download the software, install it, and put it to run. And it works. It validates the transactions like this one. And every node has one copy of the blockchain. And every node has the same copy of the blockchain. So if you kidnap one node, you didn't kidnap the whole network. So there is no single point of failure. And what happens with the nodes is that actually, let's say there is lots of people sending a lot of money to other persons, and you can actually do a lots of transactions. So they can be payments. And this is the first implementation with the blockchain. These payments are all put into a block. Let's say you have thousands of payments that are sent throughout the network. You put them in the block. The nodes do that. They put them in the block. They mathematically calculate one specific function that's really hard. It takes, the system is made in a way that it takes 10 minutes for a super computer to calculate it. And then with this calculation, it's sealed and it's put on top of the blockchain. And that's it. That's why it's called blockchain, because it's a chain of blocks. Each block contains a lot of transactions. And you can't fool the system. So if you say that, I don't know, you have now 1,000 of Bitcoins, but you didn't have it, the node will look up the history of the blockchain and see that you don't have it, and they won't accept your transaction. What you can try to do is actually send me one transaction where, I don't know, you send me 1,000 Bitcoins and simultaneously send to another node the same transaction, so double spending. But then you'll have to have a really, really strong network of computers, because the blockchain is set in a way that it tracks a few blocks, and if there is a difference, there are two chains, and it will wait until one chain gets longer, and then it will decide that this chain is valid, it's true, and it will discard the other one. So you have to be really have a strong computing power to make a longer chain, which would cost you hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, you understand this? No? Is it understandable? No, okay, everybody's confused. Do you have questions? Okay, so basically, what people thought of after the payments, which is actually Bitcoin, they thought of, okay, maybe we can write into these blocks something else, not only transactions. So, for example, I can write some information. And these were, for example, identities. Then they figured we can have fun and we can write some stupid things. So there is these Pepe memes. Do you know what is Pepe meme? Pepe? No? It's a green frog. They just draw it like, I don't know, all these memes on 9gag and everything. So you can actually create unique meme and say like there is 100 of them. Each one has a unique identification, and you can sell them over internet. So you don't have them, you just hold them virtually. It's stupid, but it doesn't matter, it works. So you can't actually forge forfeit or something like that. And so this is Bitcoin. And so what does it provide? It provides security. So there were no cases since 2009 when the Bitcoin protocol started, when somebody managed to steal managed to hack the protocol. So it is possible to hack your wallet, to steal your keys and steal your Bitcoins that you hold, but nobody can do this, as I told you, write down I have 1,000 Bitcoins or double spend or anything like that. It provides pseudonymity, so each transaction is written in the blockchain, but there is no your name attached to it. If somebody knows your address, they can follow all of your transactions in the history. So be careful about this, but there is no identity attached to the specific address. It enables micropayments. So now you can actually have thousands and thousands of, well, not yet, but soon it will be able, with that improvements, to have thousands and thousands of payments within your system, fast transactions, store of value. So what do you think is the most valuable thing there is? Gold, maybe? What do you think, why gold has a value? What? It's? Can you speak louder? Commodity. Well, gold is, you can't make more gold, right? You can only mine it in the ground. So supply is not really, but almost fixed. And this is the key thing. It's a small piece that you can actually value for some, use it to buy some, I don't know, something else. And with Bitcoin, what we have right now is the first currency, such as gold, that is actually really fixed. So there will only be 21 million of them. And currently the price for one Bitcoin is more than $4,000. And some people predict it will be more than $1 million worth because there will be only 21 million of them. Trustlessness, so you don't have to I don't have to trust you or anybody else if I send you money or receiving money from you, because the system works in a way that once I click send, you get the money and that's it. I can stop it, I can change it, or anybody else. Yeah, that's why we had these ransomware attacks when people. Do you watch Game of Thrones? So did you hear about this guy who hacked, stole the episodes and wanted them to pay in Bitcoins? So this is the only money you can actually get, even if you, I don't know, if you threaten it, if you're doing something illegal, and nobody can take it from you, and nobody can find you. So this will enable us some new cyber criminal activities. So yeah. Immutable, so you can't change it. What's written in the blockchain can't ever change. If you wanted to change something here, you would have to change all of the transactions that happened later. It has low cost, so if you send one Bitcoin to another person, the cost will be less than $1. While if you're sending anywhere in the world, like I can send it in Nigeria, and if I'm sending it with SEPA transfer via banks, it will cost probably, I don't know, 50 euros or something like that. Yeah. So what are the opportunities? So how can you build a business on blockchain, on the Bitcoin, and earn money? There are some of the most known cases. So you can build an exchange where people actually trade Bitcoins with other currencies, or with, yeah, they can trade with fiat or SOL. ATMs, there are actually physical ATMs where you can go in the street and buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin there. Payment cards, there are these cards you can pay with Bitcoins anything you want, buy it in shops. Also, point of sale system is same thing for stores. You can build a wallet, so people can hold Bitcoins in your wallet, and you get some fee for that. You can run a node. You can run a full node and mine Bitcoins, and this is huge. But Bitcoins, it's really now it's big investment. So I don't know how would that be possible. You can trade, of course, for different currencies and earn money. And you can actually try to develop. Bitcoin is always having new proposals for improvements, and if they are implemented, you get some money. Okay, so this is, yeah, you can ask. Bitcoin now worth $4,200. What? One Bitcoin, yeah. It's really volatile and it's speculative. So this is purely based on laws of the market, how many people wants to buy it, how many people wants to sell it. Yeah. Okay, so this is Bitcoin. It's basically money that is used for payments and transactions. But what the thing is with the cryptocurrencies is that you can program them to do something. So does that make sense? You can actually program money to do something. Does that make sense? You can program money to do something for you.
What do you mean? Do you mean like a direct debit or standing order?
No, 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 no. No. So it works in a specific way that it enables some, I don't know, outcomes you want to happen. So people were thinking of new ways to make cryptocurrencies that will be better, faster, cheaper, I don't know, put some information on them and so on. And then one day came along this crazy Russian guy, Vitalik Buterin, who was only 19 or something. And he thought, what if we, instead of writing blocks of transactions into blockchain, what if we could write any code, a program code, which can be executed? And so this is actually how Ethereum came to be. So Ethereum is a programmable blockchain. It has all the same value proposition as Bitcoin, but it's also programmable. What does it mean? You can actually write a piece of code and put it onto the chain. And you have no control over it anymore, and nobody else has. So, for example, if we all decided to conduct a voting session right now to decide who will be, I don't know, who will have all of our money. So we will all vote and decide, okay, we will give our money to this one person. And we decided we are not going to vote in an old-fashioned way, you know, putting ballots, voting ballots and so on. We will do it digitally. We will do it over internet. And the problem is that the person who controls the program, runs it on their computer, can actually alter the results and change it into their favor. So let's say you can trust me, I will not do it, but you cannot really know if I did it or not, because I can change the results. I can have it, so I can get the money. Understand that? So with the blockchain, if you write it down on the blockchain in Ethereum, you can do that. It's written and it works. So it's written in a way that if you send a vote to the program on the blockchain, it will count it as a vote, a specific vote you said, same as transaction, and that's it. And it will give us results, and nobody can change it. Not even the Vitalik, the crazy Russian guy who made it. And this is the first time in history of internet that you can actually have something like that. Not even Donald Trump can change it, literally. Nobody, yeah. Yeah, but that would cost probably, I don't know, $500 million, you know. So you have to invest $500 million, and if you invest that kind of money, you will never get the same amount of money back. So you're in the majority.
What if you make some advanced program and it has some bug? What then?
Yeah. So there is so then you actually fucked up, because you'll invest a lot of money into building something, and then you put it on the chain, and running it also takes money. And this is what happened last year. The biggest crowdfunding campaign ever reached $150 million last year. It was called DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, and it had a bug. So a attacker came one night and just stole $60 million. Can you imagine? If you run into Fed, probably you couldn't steal that kind of money. And now, when Ethereum got higher, the price, it will be worth more than $4 billion. So they stole this money with just a computer and, I don't know, one script and a bunch of Ethereum ethers, and that's it. What? No. Everybody knows. So the thing is that, well, the code is compiled and put it on the blockchain that way, and you can get it back into original. But this is the thing about the blockchain community. Once you start a project, you publish everything publicly. Like, you put it transparently open. The code can be found on GitHub. It can be reviewed. You put bounties for programmers to check them, to find bugs and so on. So there is basically, right now there are some bounty programs that offer you $1 million if you find bugs on some specific blockchains. And so this is completely transparent, but still, with all those eyes looking at it and trying to find if it's secure, it still happens. Recently, what happened is that after this first fail with DAO, a group of white hat hackers emerged, and whenever somebody hacked some huge sum of money, they started using the same hack to get the money into safe haven and then returning it to the to original owners. So this was very interesting. What happened a few months ago? Basically, there was more than $200 million endangered because there was a hack, and they were racing the hackers and white hat hackers who will take more money, save it or steal it. Yeah. So once you have programmable blockchain, this is what you can have. Well, all of things that you have with Bitcoins, of course, you have with Ethers, but you can have smart contracts. Smart contracts are actually these bits of code that you can put in it, and they can do something for you. For example, you can have a decentralized exchange. So nobody controls the money that's put on exchange. When you send to the exchange, it will return you automatically. So there is no person, nobody. You just pay the fee for running the program, and that's it. So nobody earns money from it. Why is this important? Well, let's say you're Google, and you want to, so you control advertising industry on internet, and you have to pay to Google. It will take their own cut, and then they will pay the rest to the, I don't know, whoever they're paying, the owners of the websites or so on. With these programs, you can actually have it all brought down, kick out the Google, so everybody who has a website can actually attach to the smart contract, and if you want to advertise, you can just send the money to the smart contract, and that's it. It runs completely autonomously. There is no third party, nobody controls anything, and nobody takes any fees, just the fee for the platform itself. Okay, this is maybe too bit more complex. So there is digital jurisdiction. I expect that soon we'll have companies open on internet only, so no country involved at all. Like you can literally open a company with 3 clicks. Digital identity, so forget signatures. You'll have digital signatures which are much more secure. So decentralized storage. You won't pay Dropbox or, I don't know, Google or Amazon to store your data or anything. It will be decentralized, and you will be the only one who has the control over it. Decentralized marketplaces. So this is the key thing. Now you can actually have your own projects built as a marketplace. So can you give me one of your ideas, what you were working on, one of the teams? Can you tell me what were your ideas you started working on here? What were you working on?
I'm working in a marketplace for student discounts.
Marketplace for student discounts.
Yeah.
How does it work?
So well, you just log into, like, you know, when you're in a college, like a login with your email and your
Okay.
password. So you log in.
So you get discounts in different stores around the university, something like that. Okay. So basically, what can be done is that you can set up a marketplace that will be decentralized. Every actor will be independent, and they will trade with this cryptocurrency. And to have this, you just generate initially those tokens. And these tokens can be used for the exchange. And if you want to use a discount, you'll have to use a token paid to the platform, and you have the discount. And what this creates is need for tokens. So your student discount exchange token is very demanded because everybody wants to use discounts. So everybody who holds it, their tokens are worth more. if you understand. And in this way, you can actually tokenize your whole business model, and it will completely depend then on the participants, how much they invest, to how much they will get back. So this would be, for example, a very good solution if you want to create these kinds of marketplaces where different actors would compete for some resources and sell it, and that's it. Yeah. Okay. So I already took too long. Is there any questions? Yeah. So if you invest in Bitcoin, in one Bitcoin, you have one Bitcoin. That's it. The thing is that currently there is more and more people who want to buy Bitcoin, so they offer more for your Bitcoin. So if you had it 1 year ago, you would probably could sell it for $1,000. Now you can sell it for $4,000. So there is this funny thing in the cryptocurrency community. They call it HODL, which is actually just hold your money and don't sell it because it will be much more worth years later.
I have a friend who bought Bitcoin, I think, 5 or 6 years ago when it was around.
Yeah. How old is he?
He's now 23 years old.
Yeah.
Living in Glasgow.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's keeping still that.
Yeah.
10 Bitcoins, they're now worth it. Yesterday they were around
$4,000, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing, the thing is that when Bitcoin was published, most of the people who bought them were teenagers. Just think about it. You can buy money on internet. I mean, you're giving money for it, but still you're buying some digital money. And they were that was funny for them, and they did it. And what happened is that now you have hundreds and thousands of teenagers who are actually millionaires just because they were making fun. Yeah. I have 0.3 Bitcoins, which is, I don't know, maybe $1,000, something like that. Yeah, you can buy it up to 8 decimals, so decimal points. So you can buy 0.00001, but that would be too expensive because you have to pay each time like $2 or $3 for transactions. So I don't know. You would want to buy more than $100 worth of Bitcoin, which is, I don't know, 0.002 or something like that.
So being the Bitcoin a digital coin, I suppose that you can generate it.
So it's written in the system how it's generated.
Yeah.
So it's there is a graph that shows how much Bitcoins will be generated over the years. And when it started, it was high, and it's getting lower, and it will end up in 2040. And it's generated by confirming these blocks. So nodes, when they confirm a block, they generate one Bitcoin for themselves, and this is like a reward. But there will be only 21 million of them. Other currencies, they have different rules. So you have currencies that don't have fixed supply, currencies that are not generated, but I don't know.
So, I mean, is it easier to generate it? I mean, to compute it or to...
So currently, it's better to buy it and hold it than to actually invest money into mining equipment and start mining Bitcoins. So, because it's much higher demand for them, and everybody wants to buy them. So if you invested that money, you would have to invest in equipment into Bitcoin. It will be worth more later. That's current situation. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
I would like to share my experience with the cryptocurrency. Don't you ever do a day trading or something like that? My experience was I bought it for $400, and then I went to $3,000, and then I think that I was a good investor, and then I started day trading, and then I lost everything. So the most important thing is what Tom said a few times,
Yeah. Okay, the subject is really complex. There's so many things happening on a daily basis. So I try to give you just like shortest possible explanation. New business models, it enables decentralization, tokenization, and different others are something that will drastically change the way we live, the way we do business. And hopefully some of you will catch on this wave and start working on some projects with blockchain. Yeah.